Hello and welcome to my game theory presentation. So my project is a treasure hunt game. Let me start by saying I obviously did not read the instructions very well when she said to pick an everyday scenario, but I asked and she said it was okay, so that's just what we're going with. So my game involves treasure and risk and death and all kinds of crazy stuff, which we'll get into later. But I just want to start by saying that game theory is applicable to this scenario because I can make my guesses of what I think is going to happen based on math and equilibriums, but I also think it's important to run experiments because real people make different decisions than what we can figure out with math. So what is the game? It's a two-player treasure hunt game where they each have 3 decisions to make, and then I'm studying 3 variations of those games. So how to play the game itself. I'm not going to put all the words on there because it's really long. I'm just going to talk it out to you. So the game starts, I'm pretending that you're a player. You are in South America here with a buddy. You're hiking some trails and you come across what appears to be a treasure map. So you check it out, you investigate it for a while, a few hours, and you figure out that it's actually legit. So you're like, okay, I'm going to do this. We're going to go on this treasure hunt. So you and your friend are hunting for a few hours and you come to a point where you find instructions that tell you that you have to split up to get to the treasure. So you guys split up, keep hiking your separate ways for a while, and then you both find yourselves in these separate chambers. You have no phone service, so you're on your own from here on out. You make it to the chamber, you do the secret whatever, blah, 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 and a boulder rolls out of the way, and you are there. There is treasure. It's a pretty good amount of treasure. I mean, anyone would be pumped to find anything on a treasure hunt, really. But the catch is there's another set of instructions in this chamber telling you that there is a bigger treasure ahead. So in game theory terms, you currently have a payoff of 25, but there's a treasure worth 10 times the amount, or 250 units, if you keep going. So you have 3 choices. You can turn around and take nothing. You can just leave and go. You can turn around and take the small treasure that you already found, or you can try to go on for the big treasure. Here's the catch though. If both of you don't go for the big treasure, you won't make it. Both players have to be there to get the big treasure. So if you go by yourself and your teammate turns around with the small treasure, you end up dying on your way to the big treasure. Or if you take the big treasure and the small treasure and turn around and your friend goes alone, they'll end up dying on their way. But also, one more thing. If you, once you go for the big treasure, the small treasure's gone. So you can't go for the big treasure and then turn around later. Once you leave the chamber, the small treasure just disappears. So your 3 options are to take nothing, to take the small treasure, or to risk it for the large treasure, but you hope that your partner goes with you for the big treasure or you won't make it. So the game variations are the first round, you don't know if these instructions are real or not. So you do have a small treasure in front of you, that's real. You don't know if the instructions to this mystical treasure, you don't know if they're real or not. The second round, you are guaranteed that they're real. There really is a treasure worth 250 units further down the road if you risk it to get it. And in the third round, there's a 60% chance it's legit and a 40% chance it's not. So here's the payoff table for each scenario. If you both take nothing, obviously you both get 0. If one takes nothing, other takes small, nothing gets 0. Small treasure person gets 25 units. If one of you takes nothing and the other one tries to go for the big one, the person who went for the big one dies, and then the person who turned around and took nothing got nothing. But here's the catch. The person who died has a negative payoff, and you're also going to have a negative payoff because you let your friend die. No, it's not your fault, but your friend ended up dying because you didn't go on with them. So you both have negative payoffs in this scenario. The next payoff is if you both took the small treasure, both turn around, both get 25 units. Then if one took a small and the other goes for big, the person who went for the big one is going to die again. So they have negative 15. But this time you still get a payoff because you got the treasure, but 10 units were taken because you're sad that your friend died, but you still got 15. And then the big, if you both go for the big, if the instructions are real, you both get a payoff of 250 units, which is great. But if the payoff is, if the instructions are fake, then you both get a payoff of 0 because you went for it. It was fake. Y'all made it alive, but there's no treasure. And then the treasure that you left behind to go for the big treasure is also gone. So for round one, which is, let me go back and show you. Round one is you have no idea if the instructions are real or if they're fake. So nature is going to play a role in this round because nature is going to be the one to decide if the instructions are real or if they're fake. So if the instructions are real, here is the Nash equilibrium and the payoffs for that. I don't want to explain all this math to you, but there are two pure strategy Nash equilibrium, which is both players take the small, both players take the large, and because it's an even number, that means there's a one mixed Nash equilibrium. So I figured that out with all of this lovely math, and you discover that Explorer 1 will go for a small treasure with a probability of 85%, and a payoff of 23.5, and Explorer 2 has the same thing, probability of 0.85, expected payoff of 23.5. So if the instructions are false, that means that both players are going to take the 25 because there's only one pure strategy Nash equilibrium here. It's highlighted in green. Okay, so for round two, this round is a little different. This round you are guaranteed that the instructions are real. So there won't be this split. It's just going to be that one graph telling you that the instructions are real, and the payoff would be 250 if you got the large treasure. So there's two pure strategy Nash equilibrium for this one. Again, both take small or both go for large. And then there is the mixed. Oh, I need to explain. I was able to shrink it down to a 2x2 to play because the top row is in the top. I don't know if my pointer's showing in this, but in the top row, you can see that the column players has a dominant strategy in the middle, so the top one is eliminated, and then the left column is also eliminated. So I could shrink it down to that 2x2 and do the math for that. But anyway, it's the same thing here. It's literally the same exact thing. There's just not two tables. The fake instruction one is gone. So it's the same payoffs, same equilibriums, and then round three is where it gets a little different. So for this one, there's a 60% chance the instructions are real and a 40% chance they are not. So I combined the two tables by doing like a weighted average thing. So I did a 60% chance you'll get 250 and a 40% you'll get 0, which it ended up saying that would be 150 in payoff. So this one also has two pure strategy Nash equilibrium, the 25-25 and the 150-150 highlighted in blue there. And then there is one mixed equilibrium, and I was able to eliminate the top row in the left column to do a 2x2 for that. So the results from my real life experiment, this was so fun. I made a little Google Doc that I sent out to my family and friends, and they went through the treasure hunt and had to make their decisions and whatnot. It was really funny. They were texting me and saying bro, my heart was pumping from that. This is crazy. But I sent out my poll to the Koji group message and then put it on Facebook, and I got 66 responses. So I feel like I have a pretty good set of data to work with here. So as you can see, in round one, most people were okay with just taking the small treasure and leaving. There were a few people who just wanted nothing to do with anything. I guess they thought it was rigged or cursed or something. They didn't want anything to do with it. But there were still 30 people who went on for the big treasure even though they could die. And they didn't know if the instructions were real. So things changed in the second round when the instructions said there is a 100% chance that there is treasure there if you risk it. You still don't know what your partner's going to do. You don't know what your partner's going to do in any round. But you do know that the instructions are real. So 63 people went for the big treasure. Okay, I was wrong. There was more than 66 responses. This math does not add up. Don't listen to me. But anyway, 63 respondents said that they were going to go for the big treasure, which kind of blows my mind. But I think it's because this is just a Google Doc. You're not actually risking your life. So, of course, a lot more people are going to say that they would go for the big treasure. And then when it went back to a 60% chance that they're real, 40% chance they're fake, if you look at the numbers, they're almost the same as the first round, which is really interesting to me. But in my head, that's exactly what I thought would happen. I mean, there's more people who picked the go for the big treasure because it's fake. That's only one difference of what I expected than what actually happened. But in the first round, when you don't know, I expected most people would just take the small treasure, and in the second round, I expected that more people would take the risk. Not that many people, but more, the most out of all 3 rounds. And then the third round, I figured that it would go back to half and half. But that's pretty much exactly what happened. So this was a lot of fun to figure out and send out my form and get responses and have friends asking like who would I have survived. So it was a really fun project to work on and do, and I appreciate you listening. Thank you.